I want to share my experience of what it was like for me when my dad left my family unit. Now I can already feel in here that I'm a bit vulnerable at the moment, because all of my videos are personal experiences, and this one's one of the harder ones to talk about, because it was at that point that my whole life changed. And I want to share it because it's important for other people to hear other people's experiences, because we all have our own, obviously, and it's important to talk about it. We learn from each other, and I feel I need to voice myself, because I hope this video is comforting in some way or helpful in another. Comforting in ways of that you're not alone. So my throat might play up because it's my throat chakra. Because obviously when you're being vulnerable, it can get croaky. It can actually stop, like you can't actually talk. You have throat imbalances. So I've noticed that when I do my videos, my throat isn't sounding like I normally, it's not functioning as well as it normally is, in the sense of balancing with my energy balances. But that's because I'm being vulnerable and I'm voicing myself, so it's totally natural. So yeah, when I was 12, for me it was a normal day. I don't remember all the details, but I remember some. It was a day where I had a lot of homework to do, I think. I was in secondary school at that point. Yes, I was at secondary school, and I was upstairs in my mum's room on the computer, the old-fashioned ones. And I was doing a piece of homework. I can't remember what the homework was, but I remember sitting there writing, and then my mum shouted to me, and I think my brother as well, to come downstairs. So I went downstairs, and my dad was sat in the front room on a single chair, and I was asked to sit next to my brother. I think my brother was next to me, and then my mum was next to him, and we sat on the sofa, so we're facing each other. And I remember Mum was like, "Dad's got something to say to you, to tell you." And I looked over and he couldn't speak. He couldn't talk to us. He didn't know what to say, and I was a bit like, what was happening? Then I think it was Mum that had to say, your dad's decided to leave. And I don't know if it was at that point where we got told he met someone else, but he was leaving the family unit. And me and my brother obviously were instantly in tears. Pretty sure I couldn't digest the information straight away. It was a bit surreal. It was a bit like, what the hell? he's leaving. What do you mean he's leaving? And I remember looking over to my dad, and he didn't know what to do. And my dad, at that time, used to go to a shooting club, so it's practicing like targets, shooting targets, and that. And I'm laughing because this is how he met the other person. But anyway, and so yeah, he didn't know what to say. So my mum said to him, you know, you can go, because he had to go off to shooting straight after he told us. That was his evening that he went off. So instead of staying with us, he went, because he didn't know how to handle it. My mum had done the talking, and my mum had told him to go. I think it would have been better if he stayed, obviously, from my point of view. But yeah, he left. I kind of got visualizations of him leaving, but I don't know if that's me making that up in my head, if that's actually how it was, because like I say, I don't remember clearly. So yeah, he walked out the room, and then it was me, my brother and my mum sat there on the sofa, and she just cuddled us, held us close, and we cried. I think my mum cried as well. All of us together just sat there crying. And I could hear her saying things like, it's okay, we got this, we're all good, we can do this. Lots of reassurance that everything's going to be okay. And I was just lost. And a little part of me since then has been lost. It's only recently that I've started to listen to myself more. Listen to my inner child, listen to those feelings that I felt. Because the feelings are there more so than the memories. The body holds the feelings. And there's part of me now that I like to cry. I might cry, I don't know, but it was a very emotional time, and I hold on to the feelings more so than the actual precise memories. But I do remember the day where it was his time to leave the house, and he was in the dining room, and my mum was helping him pack his stuff, from what I remember. There's boxes around, and he was walking, you know, in and out the house, not in and out the house, in and out the rooms, going from the kitchen through the dining room to the hallway, and I was just not knowing how to be, because I was watching my dad's stuff being packed up. Yeah, so his stuff was packed in boxes, and yeah, I remember my mum being there helping him at a certain point. I don't remember the memory, I don't remember when he actually left the house, like left properly. But I remember saying to my mum, like, we made a little pact that we were the tripod. It was my thing of coping. So the tripod was me, my mum, and my brother. And yeah, we would be the three the three stands holding us all together. All three of us would hold each other together. That's probably me because I'm the youngest. And I'd be like, we're the tripod. We call this. All three of us. Now, I don't really remember much about how I felt straight after, but I have a feeling of emptiness. So yeah, a feeling of emptiness. remember sitting in my window quite a bit in my room, just staring out into the road. So I had like a little seating bit, like a window ledge, and I used to sit in my inside, obviously, like a windowsill. I used to sit on there looking out, listening to music. I remember Savage Garden used to be playing on my cassette player over and over and over. No, I don't remember if that was the same time as my dad left, but I do have that memory in my head. But I was very lost, and I didn't know how to be after that. A massive chunk of my identity, my life, the family unit, it just been pulled apart, been removed, and the person that was there for 12 years is not there anymore. So my dad didn't talk to me. Well, he did try and talk to me a little bit after he left. He came and visited me and my brother out the back, in the back garden, which was very weird. He wasn't in the house anymore. We'd only see him at the back garden, and I don't know whether I think that might be because it was just awkward between him and my mum, because he did go off with another woman. So he wasn't in the house anymore. I was only to see him at the back garden, which was weird. I remember pictures of me and my brother being taken, and one of them stood on the shelf in my mum's front room. But yeah, we visited a little bit after that, like I say, the back garden, and there were some phone calls, which he would phone us every few days, I think. I can't remember how long in between. And then he decided that he was going to move up to Southampton with his new partner. So I'm living in Cornwall, and he wanted to move up there. So the connection automatically just kind of dissolved. I remember not really wanting to talk to him anymore because I didn't know how to be around him. And then he also said to us that we needed to accept his new partner, or he isn't going to be in our lives. Now when I'm 12, I'm around the hormone stage of teenagers, and my memories are racing everywhere. And I didn't know how to accept her, the situation he was presenting me, because I didn't know who she was. In my mind, she just pulled the family apart. She was the reason why he left. I didn't really want to get to know her. It wasn't gradual, it was put on me. So I automatically said I don't want to see her, to accept her right now. This is a release. That was an energy release. Looks like I was yawning, but I was releasing some energy there. So yeah. So we went quiet. He sent me a bit of an abusive email as well at one point when I tried to reach out to him. He was swearing and everything. It was awful. It's probably when I was like 13, 14, maybe, somewhere around there. So yeah, it was quite a few years, like I said in a different video, that he didn't bother. So This is healthy, this is good. I'm releasing as I'm talking to you guys. So yeah, I was going back to how I was feeling. Me and my mum and my brother had to make a new routine for ourselves. And my mum picked up a lot. She was doing a lot before he left anyway. But yeah, she picked up where he'd gone. These are really good energy releases, because it basically means that I've been holding on to stuff still which I hadn't realised, and because I'm talking about it, it's clearing as I'm talking about it, so I'm healing as I'm talking to you, so it's really good. But so we created a new unit and a new way of being, and we moved forward, and we found a way without him, and a lot of feelings came up: anger, frustration, all the emotions you can imagine towards my dad. I was angry at him, I hated him, I missed him, I had hope that he's coming back, I had disappointment when he didn't. I was in despair, I was feeling lost, I was craving his attention but also not wanting him anywhere near me. I was completely in conflict with myself for loads of years after that. And it wasn't until I went to therapy, which I'll talk about in another video, that I started shifting those feelings into something more healthy for myself. So shortly after my dad left, probably within the year, my granddad had passed away, which is my mum's dad, and I became very aware of my mum's feelings, obviously what she's going through from losing my dad and then my granddad. For me, I didn't feel like I could talk to my mum at first about my dad leaving. I always used to hide it from her. I used to bottle all my feelings up, and I didn't really express myself because I was trying to be there for my mum. My brother, he went quiet, bless him, quite quiet, and he never really spoke much about it either, but I also did the same because I didn't know if I was to bring my dad up around my mum, if it would upset her because of the way it was, how he left with someone else. I didn't voice myself. I didn't talk about how I was feeling. I didn't mention his name, and if I did, I would apologise because I didn't want to upset her. And I was walking on eggshells around her, but people pleasing and keeping everything to myself. And at the time, I was supporting her through my granddad passing, her dad. And I just remember taking everything in and not being able to release anything. I didn't know how to cope. I didn't have therapy until later on in my life, so at that point I was taking it all in and not letting anything out. I was very heavy in my emotions and very depressed and low and very, very lost and feeling abandoned. Because obviously I was from my dad. So. I blame myself at times, that it was my fault that he left. Did I see something wrong? There's a lot of thoughts that went through my head and a lot of negative cycles that I experienced over the years to follow that. It changed my whole entire world. There was a massive gap in the family, and it's just feeling very lost. It was me that reached out to him towards the end of that stint of not talking. It was me that reached out to him, and I asked him if he loved me. It was done through a letter. That was when I was receiving counselling, so I was probably about 17 then. 18. It was done through a letter, and I reached out and I said, "Do you love me?" And basically, don't like the way it is. Can we sort it out? And I always used to be like, well, why am I running to him? Why am I the one to be chasing after my dad, getting his attention when he's the adult? It's just like it's his responsibility, and so that just ate into my negative belief systems that I wasn't enough. It wasn't important, but I did this letter anyway, and now I could actually get a reply for the post saying that he does love me, and he's sorry the way things were left, and that was basically it really for a little while after that. But I had that confirmation, but it's telling me that you love me. I didn't feel it really. I was like, yeah, I can see it on paper. So it was a very confusing time for me because I wasn't shown his love. I was just told that he loved me. So I'd never really been shown it. The only time that I remember of him, I have like maybe one or two memories of him out of my whole entire childhood. Is me sitting on his lap combing his hair when I was probably about 4, 5, something like that, a bit older. That memory I have that warm, loving feeling in that moment. But that's it. So not having a dad in my life isn't a very nice experience. He's missed out on so much of my milestones, so much of my achievements, and there's been so much I've wanted to tell him over the years, but I just couldn't because it's just not. It doesn't feel like I can. Yeah, so having a dad leave the family is it is like your world's falling apart, and it's been tough trying to find myself through all of it, to be honest. I've had to carry on my life without him there. So, yeah. I'm not quite sure. I don't think I need to say any more at the moment. I just wanted to get out what it was like to experience him leaving. Yeah. Okay. It's a bit of a weird. I'm kind of allowing myself just to kind of feel what I'm feeling and going internally and going back to that time. So when I'm talking, it's coming out slowly and in drips and drabs because I'm trying to connect to myself at the same time as really talking to you guys. So yeah, it's the way I'm talking is how I'm feeling, to be honest, in the sense of I don't really know how to interpret it wholly, like in a whole. I just know I was really in distraught and despair and feeling really lonely and isolated and having to hold in stuff because I didn't know how to express, and not knowing whether I need to be reaching out to him or wait for him to come to me, and then having that disappointment that he never came, or it would be every 5-6 months, if that. I do remember holding on to hope more than anything, and that destroyed me because I would always be hoping and hoping and hoping instead of living in the moment, which I never knew how to at that point. I would always be like, oh, he's coming back, I'm going to see him soon, and it just never happened, and there'd be empty promises. So on the top of trying to deal with my own emotions and having his actions being like that didn't help at all. There's no trust. I couldn't trust him, and I don't really trust him now. He's not really here anymore. He's not in my life now, but yeah, there's just so much stuff that you wish you could have been like sharing with him. I wish I could share with him, but this is what it's meant to be like for me. So this is my path, and like I've said before, I've learnt lots from him, and I've learnt from the situation. Yes. When my dad left as well, he shortly after he told us that he was having a baby. So that was a bit of a surprise for me and my brother. And I've only really seen my half brother probably about 3 times in his life. And he's a teenager now. So it's sad, really, to be honest. It is really sad. I don't know him much. He doesn't know me much. It's just the way it is. But yes. Yeah, family dynamics. It's interesting. It's the universe learning about itself in many different forms, in many different ways. Yeah. It's okay. I do still think, like, what is it like? How would it be like to experience a dad, a proper dad figure? But you know, it's just I'm doing alright. I'm doing more than alright. I'm okay. You know, I went through an experience there that was an horrendous time, but I've learned about myself, and I'm doing these videos. So yeah, I'm hoping to just to be there for you, whoever's watching this, and just to help you in some way, and if not, just to pass on my experience. Anyway, I will speak to you guys soon.